All right, people, Mr. Right here with a lesson for clarinet players on how to deal with key signatures. You see, key signatures are so important. They help us to know, is that this B or that B? And so let's solve this right now. In your key signature, we'll deal with sharps first. We'll just deal with sharps, and then we'll talk about flats after that. But if you have nothing at all after your treble clef, right in this area right here, that is a key signature in and of itself. That means you're going to play all of your B's B natural. Like, for instance, this B right here below the staff, when you're a beginner, you come into contact with this one, the low B. So that's going to be just the middle finger of the right hand. Thumb 1, 2, 3 of the left hand, like playing a C, and you add that middle finger B. Not the first finger, but the middle finger. So that's that B. And that would be a B natural, just a regular B. A B natural and a B is the same thing. So, and it also applies to this B right there. That's going to be a B that you'll cover later on, where you play this B natural with both pinkies down. You can play it with just the right hand pinky down here and this one over here, but I tell my band students use both pinkies on these keys right here to play that B natural. Thumb register key, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and these two keys right there to play the B natural. Like I said, you can play the other one. But that's the B natural, like, but, and let me cover one other thing. If you have an F, it's just going to be your thumb. Just your thumb. This right here, your regular thumb F. Right? And then, of course, you got your low F, thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the right hand pinky key playing this key right here, the one that's farthest from your pinky knuckle. That's your low F, or your high F, but that's later on. But that F right there is just going to be your thumb. Now, what if we start adding sharps to all this? And the first sharp that would appear would be a sharp on the F line. The top line is your F line. So that's your F line right there. And that sharp applies to every single F that you would deal with. Whether it be up here, you'll see that later on, or this F right here. This sharp right here is going to make this an F sharp, which is first finger only. No thumb, but just your first finger only. This, right? That's just your F sharp right there, first finger only, or your low F sharp, but you'll get to that later. But so that would make this a high F sharp, middle finger, thumb register key, 1, 2, 3, middle finger, just like your low B natural, except now with the register key. All right, so that's how that will change that. And then what if you have another sharp? Let's say we have a sharp, the next sharp that you would see is a C sharp on this C space right here. And because it's there, in this spot, it'll affect this C. It'll also affect your low C down here to where this C becomes a C sharp, thumb 1, 2, 3, and the top little slither key right there, right below your third ring finger right there. That's going to be a C sharp right there. So it goes from a C to a C sharp. You know, when you sit on something sharp, you raise up a half step, right? So a sharp raises up and over a half step. Whereas a flat that we'll talk about later, when you have a flat tire, you go down a half step. So a flat lowers us down a half step. And a natural, a C natural is the same thing as saying just a regular C. So that's a C sharp and how that would affect, how your key signature would affect all of your Cs. The next sharp that you would see, and the order of the sharps, I should say, you can remember this little sentence I made up. Fat cows gulp dandelions and eat bushes. Now this makes perfect sense because, of course, a cow can gulp a dandelion, but it takes it a while to eat a bush. It's much bigger. So fat cows gulp dandelions and eat bushes. So that's the order of sharps, like F sharp, C sharp, G sharp up here in the G space, right above this, the staff. Fat cows gulp dandelions and eat bushes. Now that's all the sharps that you would come in contact with. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, fat cows gulp dandelions and eat bushes. But typically, when you're just starting off with a clarinet, you're not going to see all those sharps. We'll just deal, let's say, let's deal with just the first three for right now, okay? So if you got a sharp up there in that G space, that's going to affect, of course, this G, the high G right there, and this G right there, and of course your low G way down here. So, and you can get a fingering chart and let you kind of get the process of here, what would be a high G sharp. Well, here's a high G, thumb, register key, 1, 2, 3, and this top slither key, just like the fingering for the low C sharp. Low C sharp, high G sharp, okay? And then this G sharp right here, that would be the side key, G sharp key. All right, simple enough. And then you've got your low G, and you hit this finger, the top key right here, closest to the pinky knuckle to give you that, to that low G sharp. So here's all your G sharps. So you've got your G, G sharp, your side G, your open G, side key G sharp, then your high G, then G sharp. I just hit my side key right there from my left hand. So that's the sharps, and that kind of gets you. And of course you can use a fingering chart to navigate all the rest of those sharps that you would see. But now let's talk about flats. And like I said, if you see nothing in your key signature, that is a key signature in and of itself. The key of C, no flats or sharps. You got B naturals and F naturals, right? Just your thumb F natural. Okay. But then if you start adding a flat, the first flat that you would see is a flat on this B line right here. That will affect all of your Bs. No matter how high or low they are, all of your Bs will become B flat, a half step lower. This B right here, instead of like a B natural, with both pinkies down, the way I like to finger it, it will go up to become a B flat, A key and the register key. So where it's, notice it's a half step lower. And if you got this low B down here, instead of the middle finger of the right hand, you're going to swap to the first finger of your right hand. From middle finger, see how you can see that, to first finger, just like that. So it'll go, so now we have B flat. This guy down here. Of course, your high B flat up here, you know, normally your high B is thumb, register key, and just the first finger of the left hand up here. But now we're going to make it a B flat by adding a second finger and using the bottom side key of the right hand. So you just, I'm going to go from a high B to a high B flat. Oh, sorry. Notice it brought it down a half step. So I went from a high B, and I added this finger and the side key, the bottom side key right here, using the corner of my knuckle to go bring that down. So this flat here on the B line affects all of these Bs right here. Now what if the next flat that you would see, and the order of flats is B, E, A, D, G, C, F. B, E, A, D, G, C, F. It rolls right off the tongue. So it goes B, and the next one would be an E. We would flat all of our E's. So this would have obviously pertained to this E right here in this top space. You can see it kind of just affects that. And of course your low E as well, it becomes a low E flat. So the top one, the high E flat, typically you'd play an E, the high E, thumb, register key, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But if we're going to make it E flat, we're going to add a third finger here and the top pinky key right next to it, the one that's up on the top over here. So it goes from an E to an E flat. You add two fingers down. So we're lowering that E down a half step. And then of course this E flat, you go from just your regular E, thumb and first finger, then we're going to add the second finger and this bottom side key right here to get E flat. So I'm going to go from an E to an E flat. So that lowers that one down a half step. And that affects everything. Now, and also I need to mention this. Say you've got your key signatures telling you one thing right here, and then in this next measure, let's say we've got, this is going to be an E flat right here, but say we put a natural sign right in front of this E right here. That is like a little banana peel in this little game here. So, but once you cross the bar line right here, that bar line is like a force field that zaps away the effects of this accidental or flat, sharp, natural sign. So think of this whole thing as like a game, a video game. And in the beginning, you've got these playing rules that are listed here. It could be flats, it could be sharps, but it's the playing rules. All these notes will be flatted, these notes will be sharp. And you can have, each one of these measures is like a room in this video game, and you can come across this little banana peel that's like a natural sound, or sharp, or a flat. But once you can, it's good for that whole measure, for that whole room. But once you hit this bar line, it's like a force field that it zaps it away and just gets rid of the effects of that. And so when you come back across here to the next measure or the next little room, it goes back to the original playing rules that you had in this little video game, right? So that's how accidentals work, and how bar lines will zap everything back to the original playing rules of your key signature. So that's how the measures work with accidentals. And let's see here, let's add another flat. I shouldn't have, let me just redraw my flats here so it doesn't look so messy. So we got B flat, and then an E flat. And what if we have a flat on our A space right here? That will take all of our A's and move them down a half step. You got your low A, you got your high A right up here, and you got your low A down there, 2 ledger lines down. So let's deal with a low A. Instead of it being this low A right here, thumb 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, you're going to drop it down another finger and of course play this top key. So here's an A. So with bottom A to an A flat, you got to pop down those 2 fingers, and of course that little top key right there. And then this A right here, an A is the same thing as a G sharp side key. So you could think of coming up from the bottom, but an A flat and a G sharp, the A flat or G sharp side key, you'd play that note from like here's your A using your A key. I went from an A key to the side key, G sharp or A flat key, and that's that note. It affects that. And of course your high A, here's a regular high A, thumb 1, 2 with the register key. And then I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to add 1 finger, my 3rd ring finger right here, and this slither key right there. It's the same fingering as your low C sharp. So I'm going to go from an A to an A flat. And as you're playing all these notes, it doesn't matter if you're playing the right fingers or not if you don't have a good embouchure. So it might be a good idea to just take make sure your lips are up against the teeth down here, the firm embouchure. Firm corners, don't smile, but just firm like that, like this. And you should have a pointed chin, and all this should be hard and flat. And you should have and you want to take your tongue and touch, just barely touch that the edge of the reed right here, not the very edge, but just behind it, and go. Because you don't want to just blow air. You don't want to just go. Or dua, dua, that means you're starting with a weak embouchure and then firming up the air. Or say you're puffing at your cheeks, it's got to reach this, your cheeks have to fill up with air, and then it reaches compression, enough compression to bring it up to pitch. So it needs to be just a solid tone so that when you play these notes, they'll be in tune and you'll have a good characteristic sound on the clarinet. So hopefully all this explains, remember, fat cows gulp dandelions and eat bushes, or the order of flats is the exact opposite of that order, B, E, A, G, G, C, F. So hopefully that explains a little bit about the key signature, how it works, different key signatures, how they work on the clarinet.